Aloha, shamans and intuitive folks out in the cyber world and real world. Thank you for joining us here today for EarthStar Spiritual Center's Simply Shaman series, Intuition. And we're here with episode number 7 to finish out our intuitive teachings. And we're here with our beautiful Evangeline Hemrick, who does so many things in cyberspace. Thank you, Evangeline, for being here today.
Thank you for having me here. You know, I love being with you.
Oh, yes, indeed. And ditto to you, my dear. And so I am Stacy. I'll be your host today. And I am the Co-Abbot of EarthStar Spiritual Center. We are located in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States of America. So thank you to all our friends all over the world and the dimensional spaces for joining us here today. And like I said, this is episode number 7. So we've had 6 previous sessions with other shamans. So make sure you go back and watch those. We're also on the same channel with EarthStar. And today we'll conclude with Evangeline, and we'll have the same 5 questions. That way you have this wonderful plethora of information for all our intuitive shamans that help you to enhance and to grow your own intuitive abilities. All right. And Evangeline, let's talk about you for a few minutes. So you do many things. You're a podcaster, you're an online teacher, you do in-person sessions also, folks, right?
Mostly remote. Most of it is at a distance now.
Good, yes. Well, you have so many clients all over the place, so it just makes it much easier to be able to do that at any time of day that you're able to do this in a remote fashion. And thank you for doing all that work to learn you educated yourself on how to do this and to be successful with doing this. Matter of fact, you wrote a book on the business side of being an intuitive healer, energy healer, and the name of that book, and it's on Amazon right now. And also I've got that book, it's linked in the show notes along with the Evangeline's contact info. Okay, and the name of the first book, refresh my memory.
True Calling.
True Calling, yes. And also you wrote a very exciting chapter in another book. You collaborated with other authors, and the name of that book is?
Yes, that's very different. That's about my near-death experience.
Yes.
That one's called The Energy Medicine Solution.
Yes, wonderful. And the show or the note is in the show links for that, and they're both available on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Yes. So author, podcaster, content creator, energy healer, teacher, energy healing master, and several methods. And you continue to grow your knowledge, and you're sharing all this with people in cyberspace. So thank you so very much. All right. Well, let's get right into it then. So exciting to hear your perspectives. Wherever it went. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So yes, this is March 24th, 2026, our Simply Shaman series for Intuition. Now, Evangeline is a minister with EarthStar, but that was way back in the early 2000s. And now she has expanded her ministry with us into her own ministry. So Evangeline Hemrick Ministries, and also have that link in the show notes. Okay? So thank you, Evangeline, for expanding and creating your own spiritual center and cyberspace, your own church. So thank you so much for that.
Could not have done that without you.
Oh, thank you. So kind. Good. And just to let you know, we are EarthStar Spiritual Center, a multi-faith church for living Aloha. And if you look to the left, Aloha, that is our acronym for all loving God, love, oneness, heart path, as above, so below. And you can go back and listen to our Sundays at 11:11. And the very first show we did, March 1st, I kind of highlighted these 5 aspects to give you a deeper perspective. So we've been doing the church thing since 2002, and we are all about planetary awareness to galactic consciousness. So in other words, being very multi-dimensional. And here's our Sundays at 11:11. That is about cosmic shaman and aloha consciousness. In the clouds, you see some of the things that we discuss on our Sunday mornings, and that show go anywhere from 30 minutes to about 50 minutes. And we have a little meditation, prayer near the end, just a little 5-minute thing. So make sure you tune in, and just that show along with this one today, this is a live chat. So make sure you check in, ask questions, and share your experiences. Okay, I've got the chat button on. And if you're interested in doing any books or reading any books, then we have several books available to help you along your shamanic journey. And these are available on Amazon and also in the show links. And also, if there's any budding authors out there, if we can help you in any way to get your stuff published, you see the little icon in the upper left, EarthStar Publishing, and we can help you with that. And then Simon Parks, I want to bring your attention to Simon Parks. He is the creator of Connecting Consciousness. And this is a worldwide organization. We're in over 100 countries, and we have over 100,000 members. And Simon is going to be part of the organization to develop and to issue funds for the humanitarian project. He will be able to manage that. So make sure you come up with a humanitarian project as we find ourselves moving into this beautiful golden age of America and also the world. So I'll ask you and invite you to think about, how do you currently serve, or how will you serve? And make sure that you don't wait till the time comes then to start learning the things you want to do. Understand who you are and do those things right now. And those are called your earth superpowers. And Sundays at 11:11, if you go back to the last show this past Sunday, I did that show on earth superpowers. And that will give you an indication of who you are and why you are here, and how you can combine those things with your childhood dreams and all the wonderful things you're good at doing, and the best qualities of who you are. Because we all want to know what our earth superpowers. That way we can use these powers 100% of our day in our service to others. Okay? And we'll probably have a physical class also sometime in May. I think that's what we're going to try to do. And we'll let you know about that later when the time comes. All right, so let's get to our discussion today with intuition. If we look at the dictionary definition, we can see a nice 3D foundational definition of it is the power, attaining knowledge, or cognition without evident rational thoughts. That's a mouthful. And also another way to say that is quick and ready insight. So this is the 3D version of what intuition means. So what we want to ask Evangeline, like we did the other shamans, are 5 questions. Define intuition in your own terms. How long have you known you are intuitive? What does it feel like to be intuitive? Because remember, these intuitive folks, they've had this since birth. They came out of the womb feeling this, so they know. And then how do you increase, evolve, or train your intuition? Or what are the things that you do in order to train your intuition? And also some suggestions on what other folks can do to be more intuitive. Right, so that's what we want to ask Evangeline. So let me bring this back up on big screen. So Evangeline, so when we think about this, so the very first question, in your own terms, we've heard the dictionary definition. So in your own wise, intuitive terms, how would you define intuition?
It's a 2-part answer. I see this having two levels. Number one, every single human being is intuitive. It is our birthright. It is body intelligence. It's something that has been hidden from a lot of humanity for a long time, but it's how we're created to attune to the world around us and know truth in our own body. So there's body intelligence, and I think that presents itself uniquely to each person. Like, say they feel it in their gut, or they have a ringing in their ears when it's like, there's so many ways that can present. And then there's an extra level and layer of people like us that it is all tied into their soul mission, their life purpose. Not everybody's here to geek out on all this stuff like we do and develop all of these clairs. Have y'all talked a lot about like all the different clairs? Because I teach those.
Yes. Right. Yeah, the clairaudience, the clairsentience, clairvoyance, yes.
Yes. So there's that additional level for some, and you can even see that in the Bible. I mean, how the kings would call in the people who had the prophetic dreams and could tell them, the seers, the oracles, they could give them a soul vantage point of, okay, here's the bigger picture of what's going on. So you have those people, and I think it's more of a vocation for us to be intuitive, but I think it's the birthright, and it's the gift for every single human being to have body intelligence.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, so that's a wonderful concept to know that it truly is inside of our body and to be aware of our body. So when you think about intuition, then would you define it in some sort of a spiritual way also, or is that spirit included with your body definition of that?
I think there's so many facets to it. And I have studied this. This is my life's work, to study each individual's superpowers, as you call them. The cognition is how they refer to it in human design, a system that I have studied for a long time. And that system in itself is just one of many that would show a person, ooh, this is your strongest cognition. Are you really tapping into that? And there's so much to unpack. There's so much fun to have as we treasure hunt, because these are our treasures inside of ourselves to be unlocked so that we can live to our potential.
Yes. Good. So it kind of reminds me, as I hear you talking, it sounds like one of our symbols for EarthStar, and that is a diamond. So it could be, as I hear you speak about it, it would be like intuition is a diamond, but there's so many facets incorporated into the intuition, and many people would have many of those facets.
Yes. And I can give you an example of that. Some people are going to have that gut response, whether it's gut or womb response to, I just know that this is the truth. I feel that dropped into my body. Not everybody's going to feel it there.
Right.
And then there's going to be those danger sensory aspects that go off. Like for me, for instance, used to, and I don't have this anymore, which is really cool. But if I ever felt threatened, if I felt fear, there would be a pattern of hives that would come up around my neck, and it was always in a very similar shape. And I would get all hivey, but the body knows. The body don't lie. So you can talk yourself out of thinking that there's a dangerous situation. And my mom's sister is the prime example of that. My mom's younger sister, she's not into intuitive development or anything that we discuss, that we like to get into and discuss. And she was sent working on a job up in Lexington, Kentucky, and she was walking a track. And she was just walking around this track, and all of a sudden she just panicked and freaked out and ran as fast as she could to her car, got in her car, and thought, I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. I'm having some sort of a panic attack or whatever. What is wrong with me? That was the first thing that came into her thoughts. What is wrong with me? When we know lots of times everything is right with someone, when the body has overridden all of the intellect. It came out later. A woman was being murdered in a barn right where she was walking by.
Oh, goodness.
She had no intellectual understanding of it, but it was happening right at that time. And I find that that's what's so interesting about what people do. They doubt when the body kicks in and does something like that, where what had taken over to lead her to run as fast as she could away from there, not having any intellectual understanding of that.
Yes. Oh, and it's wonderful when people actually listen to what they receive in those situations. Oh, that's a great example. Well, that's a pretty good definition of intuition then. Okay. And when you bring up the body intelligence like that, I try to remind folks that, we have, let's say we have 10 trillion cells in the body, and every cell we have has 6 feet of DNA. And so when you think about that, that comes out to 10 billion miles of DNA in the body. And when you think about that and you let that mind start thinking, how can you have 10 billion miles of anything, but it's all contained right here in this body? So how true that our bodies are so divine and they're so perceptive and receptive to all this wonderful energy all around us. So thank you for bringing all that in about trusting the body and knowing the body, because it's all right here. It's like we don't have to go anywhere else to do anything. It's right here. So and when we think about it, 3D Earth tries to pull us away from here. It tries to pull us away from the body. one of the things, and when you reference that, it reminds me when I started learning Tai Chi back in the 90s, and Tai Chi was about keeping everything centered. And my teacher kept saying, one of my Tai Chi teachers, she would say, think about ballet. When they reach, they're up on their tiptoes and they're extending up into the sky and reaching up high. Because no, Tai Chi is the opposite of that. We keep everything contained, everything centered, because we want to be here. So it makes so much sense what you say about the body intelligence. So thank you for that. Outstanding. Good start. That was number one. Okay. All right, number two. How long have you known that you are intuitive? And could you give us examples of that from like an age, your particular age, when you knew these things and how it affected you through your childhood and teenager and adulthood and now?
I didn't know that everyone wasn't constantly seeing shapes, colors, and patterns around people. I thought everybody was experiencing that. And so my mom still laughs when she says, I would just very comfortably say, "Oh, you're so yellow today," but it was what I now realize a plant medicine journey can be a lot like. I was in a constant state of that, what people strive to get to.
Yes.
And that's how I perceived the world. And I didn't know there was any different than that to compare it to until I got my eyes dilated for the first time. And then I couldn't see from a clairvoyant perspective for the first time in my life. And it broke my heart. It broke my heart. It took 3 days for how this energy center is configured for me to not be traumatized anymore from the dilation. But I never thought it was going to come back. And for those who love to listen to music, I would compare that to if you just were wondering if you would ever hear a song again. That's how I felt for 3 days. It was a really sad place to be.
Good. How old were you when that happened?
Well, Steve and I had just got together and he was like, "You've never had your eyes checked?" He was like, "I'm making you an appointment." And I was like, "I don't know if I want anybody poking around, in here." And he made me an appointment and I just did the normie thing, of like, get your eyes dilated, whatever. And it was so completely traumatic to me. But I did, as a child, learn through experiences of people not seeing what I saw and not receiving the information that I was getting very well. I learned to hold it in. And then I also have to say, it wasn't always fun because lots of times I saw things that I didn't want to see. It wasn't like it was like this beautiful trip all the time of just being in this amazing, shapes and colors and patterns. No, it was beautiful things and really, really not beautiful things too. So I was, I wouldn't say I loved it. I just kind of dealt with it.
Right. Yes. You're going to have to start a website, optometrist for Pisces or intuitive people, because maybe they'll have some special tools to put around you that won't dampen your sensory perceptions.
Yeah.
Well, now, did you know as a child then, like very early young, and how young do you think it was that you kind of knew, or maybe going back and forth with parents, they knew, because I know them and they're very, very perceptive. So did they understand you were like an intuitive person, and did you understand that at an early age?
Yeah, and they did. They were so sweet to me about it. I have to say, I had this Native American that was always by my side, and I called him Suit Jacket, but his name is the Junket. And I would be like, "Don't sit on Suit Jacket. He's right here." And he would take me outside and he would teach me about plants. And I really feel like a lot that he taught me when we lived up on the Parkway in a very idyllic setting until I was 5 years old. We lived on the Parkway. And he was just my best friend, and so everybody would say, like, of course, she's an only child, you know, until Trevor came along. They always make up a best friend or whatever. But he was showing me plants and showing me this is what you do with this one, this is what you do with that one. And even though I don't have the intellectual recall of that now, it comes through in my sessions. I think that's how plant spirits really come in for a person that I'm working with. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I don't know this plant, but you need to, because it wants to work with you.
Yes.
And so that's just a beautiful connection that I have from suit jacket. But my parents would like make him a place at the table or say, don't anybody sit over there on suit jacket. He's sitting there. But they were, you know, even though like our culture was not acknowledging or accepting the way that we came in, some intuitive people, they were. My parents were really sweet about it.
Yes. Oh, it's wonderful to have supportive parents like that. Now, you lived in Hawaii for a while. Mm-hmm. So as you think about it now as an adult, during that time, do you feel like there was a heightened sense of intuitive nature? Because I know when we go, it's truly incredible. You are truly one with the land there and the ocean. It's my goodness, it's magnificent. So how did it feel as a child being in Hawaii?
That was I feel like my first remembering of who I really am. It was such an activation at 12. And at 12 years old, going there for the first time, you know, first time in this vessel.
Yes.
And it was such a powerful remembering all at once. And I felt like I reclaimed so many pieces of myself in that moment. And I looked at my mom so passionately and said, Mom, I'm from here. I am from here. And they did not understand me. They were like, no, you're not. No, you're not, honey. And I was like, I'm from here. Like, you just need to listen to me about that. Yes. And there was that, you know, as a child, mm-hmm. and even as an adult, and your family not being able to see you out of that box of how they have you pegged, so to speak, of who you were when you were little and whatever. That was always interesting for me when I would know something and it could be something dangerous. It could be like, you need to listen to me. This is getting ready to happen. And I've always been such a big dreamer, you know, like I would dream things before they occurred and they were most of the time not wonderful things. Yes. That I would be like, you got to be careful about this. And so many times people would not pay attention to it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's wonderful. And did you notice that when you were there, I know you had a younger brother at the time then. So did you notice he had any intuitive leanings like you did, or did you discuss that amongst yourself?
He has a really deep connection to Hawaii as well. So I bet he does. Yes. He has been very different in his earth walk of just to be like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not, maybe, sure. I'm not interested, where I just had to know everything and know why I felt the ways that I did. And he's just, he's very easy about being a human and the human experience, where it's definitely been more complex for me.
Good. And so from suit jacket to being an ancient Hawaiian and your parents knowing you're a Pisces, it sounds like they were very supportive.
Even though they didn't understand it, they were like, we don't understand you. We just love you, you know, so, okay, whatever.
That's great. Well, now, as you've grown up and you started the business world, did you find that being intuitive, did that come into your business decisions at all?
It was painful. Mm-hmm. It was really painful to be as sensitive to everything and be in the old density of the business world.
Yes.
And I really feel like a lot of spiritual, heart-centered entrepreneurs that are intuitive are going to find their way forward as we're creating, like you were talking about with this beautiful project, where there's going to be the funding for these humanitarian efforts. People are going to get to take their ideas and take that forward in that entrepreneurial spirit without getting their heart hurt so much when they're so empathic.
Yes. Yeah, because it's, we're still in a 3D world, and 3D has many, many rules and lots of restrictions. And that would almost, you seem it would really kind of butt heads with the intuitive side of who we are and trying to be that way. Because, it's like, it's like in the olden days when with a handshake, that was our agreement. We didn't have to have contracts and lawyers and laws and things like that. It was just simply a heart-to-heart handshake, and we knew that was good as gold. But now we have all these other 3D rules, and it's tough to have to deal with that. That's true.
And Helen Reddy said one time that on this planet there would come a time that no one would be able to lie.
Yes.
Because everyone would have opened up their own intuitive abilities that have always been here anyway. And that was one of the hardest things about having employees. I had 16 employees and I wasn't even 30 years old yet. And I was like, can't they tell that I know when they're lying? Why would you lie to somebody like me? Like, that's
Exactly.
it's never gonna go well, but it would just end up hurting me. But I'm so excited to see the time that Helen Reddy was speaking of, when that's going to change politics. It's going to change business. It's going to be a complete game changer when no one can lie.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like she was definitely an artist from tomorrow, because she already knows about this dimensional shift. So that's wonderful that you understood that and heard it.
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, so number 2. Okay, now number 3, you've kind of answered this a little, but just wanted to focus on it specifically. So what does it feel like to be intuitive? Because, you came into this world out of the womb, you were already intuitive. So it's not because you're a Pisces, and all of our water folks, are Cancers and Scorpios too. So you came out with this already ingrained in you, and the rest of us didn't. We had to learn to trust it in a different way. We had to actually begin with and know we actually had it. We had that skill available. So we actually had to do things to learn it. We had to do more actions on our part, but you didn't. So can you explain to us in a 3D way so people understand what does it feel like to be an intuitive in everyday life, as a child, as an adult, as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, as a healer? What does it feel like to be intuitive?
You can be walking and just taking a walk, and all of a sudden you have one tone in this ear and a different tone in that ear. And that means, for me, because I've unpacked it, I've studied it, I've sat with it long enough and got over being afraid of it.
Yes.
That means pay attention. Incoming information, something you don't know is getting ready to be downloaded, and you need to pay attention. But that started years ago when I started doing Merkaba and light body training. And the first time it happened to me, I was connecting with a tree, and I was meditating and bringing this tree into my awareness, into my light body field. And all of a sudden, and I was like scared, just like when my clairvoyance started to really come back. It was in massage school, and it's just, I'd be like all empty, just got a body on the table, I'm practicing. And the minute I would do nothing, just be thinking about nothing, just be clear and peaceful, boom, there's all this going on, and I'm seeing all these patterns and color and everything. And then I would start thinking about it, and it would shut down. So knowing how to use it, turn it on, turn it off, not have to see things about people that I don't want to see. I don't want to scan them medically. But that was what would happen in airports and things like that for years, where it was a bombardment. And I wanted to drink, quite honestly. Like when I was in my early 20s, how we were talking about you don't have the gene for the alcohol. Well, I do. And I was like, I just want to drink and soften so that everything is not so intense.
Right. Yes.
But what I had the responsibility to learn how to turn that down and have spiritual manners, and not be scanning somebody that's not asking me to like look inside of them. And then to be able to really, really dial it up when somebody's paying me to do a session with them and they want me to look inside of them. And all of that is like an instrument. That's being really fine-tuned in the frequency device that is this vessel, and it takes time. Just like if you want to be a drummer or a violinist or a soccer player, you've got to spend time honing your craft.
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, it sounds like with your skill, we really could get rid of all our TS agents TSA agents at the airport, we could just have you standing by and you could psychically scan everyone's person and their luggage, and that it would be so much more efficient. And then you could train lots of these little minions. They could be intuitive people. They could just take it all over. That'd be great to be able to do that, right?
And I know them all really well because I warm them up to me when they have to pat me down because I won't go through the scans, you know.
Right.
And at first they're like, "Oh, this lady, we don't like her," you know. And I'm like, I'm gonna bring you in and attune to you. And so that's the other thing. If somebody's attuned, like I feel like if somebody is very intuition oriented, they can go into a boardroom and use this. It's not just for metaphysics. It's not. Yes. It's for your marriage. It's for dealing with your children. It's for the most practical side of life as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. And now, do you know when it is you found this? You mentioned this turning your energy up and down. So when did you find this intuitive dimmer switch? Did this come at a particular age, or did a particular experience cause this to evolve that you consciously knew, yes, I have a dimmer switch and I can shut down or I can open up? When did that happen?
Yeah, it was definitely a slow, gradual refinement of my abilities of going from total bombardment and, oh, I didn't want to know that woman's going to have a miscarriage. Yes. And there it is. And I don't want to know that, you know, like I'd be like, I don't want to carry around this information. It's not doing me or anybody else any good. So it went from that to, wait a minute, this is how I'm here to help. This is my responsibility. And there's also such a thing as spiritual bad manners.
Yes.
When people are poking around in other people's energy without permission, without asking, once they know how to wield it, because what I had was like a wild, you know, a wild horse or, you know, a vehicle, a sports car that I didn't know how to drive. Yeah, right. Yeah. So it was very gradual versus, not even knowing what you got. I mean, I was part of the GATE program. You know, I remember when they put us in that gifted and talented program in school and they made you feel really special. And then they did all these testings on you of like, do you know what's behind this curtain? Or do you know, can you hear this if we do that? And I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on back then.
And so can you define an age where you think you consciously knew about this thermostat you had that you were able to set it?
Yeah, it was definitely when I finally had a mentor.
Okay.
You know, like I was in that school of esoteric healing, and my teacher at that time, she was the one that started dialing me in, you know, and showing me, I think, and that was probably about, I don't know, like maybe around 2006, something like that, where it started being less random and less willy-nilly, like I'm in a psychedelic. I am my own psychedelic experience, you know, like I don't need plant medicine, and that's why I don't take it. Right. Whereas it could be very beneficial to go on an ayahuasca journey for somebody who does not see energy. For me, it would be incredibly detrimental because I've finally learned how to stay in my own lane. But having a mentor, I think, was the game changer of that. So that was around 2006.
Okay, wonderful. Good. If only we could put a GoPro on your psychic intuitive sense and let people tap into that live stream. Of course, they may go, no, too much.
If you're like, we don't want to be in here.
So now, every day when you start your day, though, does your intuitive radar that goes out, does it automatically stretch out to the universe, or what do you have to do about that?
Well, that's the biggest thing I wanted to talk about. So I'm so glad you said that. I have this glimmer moment where I'm not quite awake and I'm not still in the astral. That's my best. That's when answers to questions I've had for days or weeks will just drop in. And that's when I do a lot of the work for the remote healing sessions that are going to be like on the agenda, on the calendar. Boom, boom, boom. It'll be like, oh, you're going to do this in this session. Oh, and it's a very sweet middle liminal space where I have the most clarity of my day.
Oh, good. Yes. So that's something good for folks to pay attention to, right? right to the point where they're about to awaken. And now, when you wake up, it's not an alarm clock blaring rock music and wakes you up, right? Do you just wake up on your own?
I wish, but
Oh, you wish. Okay.
Laying right beside me wakes up at 4. His alarm goes off at 4:30.
Oh, goodness.
But I'm an early riser too, so I'm usually up by 5:30. But he has his whole process of going to the gym and everything, and then the dog's up. But then once all of that stirring is over, I can do my thing, and I have a moment where it's my most important part of the day, like where I have my prayer and meditation time and my breath work, and it sets me for the day for sure.
Oh, okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that was number 3. Wonderful, wonderful teachings. All right. Number 4. What do you do? Of course, you've answered some of this too, but what do you do to increase, evolve, or train your intuition, or how do you increase or train or evolve your intuition? Are there any specific things you do on a daily basis to help you evolve as an intuitive?
That is my life. I mean, that if I had known, to give you an example, because I'm constantly fine-tuning that process to get better at what I do. If I had known back in the day what getting the sunrise light and getting the sunset codes, those downloads, that's the most incredible and effective energy work I can have to refine my DNA, light everything up in my energy body, go ahead and clear things out. The fine tuning energetically that happens to me, and I don't have these on. I'm facing that sunrise. I'm facing that sunset when I can. I don't always get the sunset codes, but my sunrise time has up-leveled my psychic abilities. And just, I think everything about how my vessel works, like no other. So then you can incorporate your grounding, your breath work, your Qigong and Tai Chi. You can just get it, your nature time. You can get it all in right there at the sunrise. If I had known all those years being like a mole in a dark room doing massage therapy and calling in the light, doing light work and everything, and I was like, I was not getting my codes.
Yes.
So it just, it blew everything open for me to another level. But I teach the energy healers that I work with, I teach them, you are your laboratory. What you eat for lunch, and then you have an energy healing session, or you have a reading, a psychic reading, however you work, will tell you some foods or the lack thereof food. Yes. Is really important. It's really important to fast. I just posted a thing about that in my stories today, as a matter of fact, about the whole 3 meal a day thing is programming. It's mind control. It's
yes, it is. Right. Our ancestors did not do that. Yes.
No, they did not. And if you want to really heighten your intuition and develop, sometimes you just lay off distracting your body to have to deal with all the food, so that all these other portals and like frequency that you have, like you are this incredible technology, but you have to learn how to use it. And when people would say to me, well, should I not have caffeine? Should I not drink a cup of coffee before I do energy work, whatever? I'm like, you have to try.
Yes.
You have to experiment with your body to know, ooh, 1 cup and I can still really get there. 2 cups, it dips my frequency down, and I want to be the best I can be. So that's an ongoing thing for me all the time.
Yes, that's true. And I mean, bringing it back to the body intelligence you were talking about earlier, we really want to listen to our body, because our body knows. I mean, we have 10 billion miles of DNA inside of us. Yes, it knows. And we want to listen to all that programming we have. That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned the sun, being a Pisces and water element like you are. Do you ever do any work, the same kind of work or energy medicine with like the moon, during full moon, new moon, anything like that with moon, or only sun?
I'm very aware of how the moon is affecting me and my clients, and I sort of transcend it. I'm aware of it. I do work in harmony with the cycles of lunation, and have gotten to a point that it's like so grateful to not have the lunacy, the distortions that can come with lunar cycles, but to be able to honor and transmute that energy more so versus years ago seeing clients and being like, oh man, everybody's so amplified, everybody's so intense in their emotions. And to have come through that, but this past eclipse really felt like being in the birth canal again, you know. So yeah, always paying attention to. And the thing about doing this kind of work is you'll notice these waves of all your clients going through the same thing, and everybody's presenting with similar situations and how they feel, and you're like, it's this part of the cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I have when people come in for the shamanic life coaching, and it's like they'll come in groups of 2 to 4 different times, different people, but it's almost like a similar thing. The similar question everybody's going through. So that is amazing how those cycles work within us. And that was great advice to not only other Pisces shamans out there, but also remember our Cancers and Scorpios. Work with that moon energy some way, somehow, and make sure, like you said, you transition, you transform, you transmute it. Because we don't want it to get us bogged down where we have to start drowning in that energy. We want to be able to use it to energize us, heal, and empower.
For sure.
So what would you think one of the number one things you would do to help evolve your intuition? Of course, you're doing intuitive work every day. I mean, this is your life. This is your destiny. This is what you do for a living. You live in the intuitive world, and you teach it, you give it, you live it. So is there one big thing that you do that you make sure that you stay on that track and you keep evolving? Like a meditation or anything, or traveling or anything like that?
Yeah, meditation is essential. It can't be, when people say they want to be intuitive and develop their intuition, and they're like, and I'd really like to be able to meditate. And it's like, well, to me, one cannot happen without the other, because you learn what to do with the incoming messages and the downloads when you get still. And you can't get still if you're not in movement. Right. And I think the biggest thing for me that I didn't realize years ago, when people were coming in to my brick and mortar practice, and they were advanced if they were even getting on a table for energy work, right? And I didn't realize just the simplicity of the Tai Chi and the Qigong, or any kind of movement. If it's yoga, if it's dance, whatever you want, your joints are chakras.
Yes.
So that's DIY energy work. Like if you are circulating the energy through the joints, through movement, then you're going to be able to teach yourself and learn how to meditate and be still and receive, because you can't receive the incoming wisdom and messages of remembering until you've cleaned out the cobwebs with the movement. Those things came together for me, and it was just like, why did it take me so long to realize that some of these people were not moving at all, but they were coming in for energy work, and then the only movement they were getting through their circuitry was me, and that's not enough.
No. Yes. Right. So folks, get your pens out and write this down now. Evangeline just gave you a wonderful Zen moment. She gave you a Zen maxim. You have to move in order to be still. Okay. Just think about that. Write that down and make sure you start moving so you can be still. So thank you for that, Evangeline. Didn't realize you were such a Zen prophet. So very good.
And hydration. I forgot water. I mean, you can be off sometimes in your intuition, or say you're doing a session and you're like, I'm just like I feel staticky. Like, what is the static? And have I had enough water today too?
Yes, that's wonderful, because you have to have that flow, that water, that liquid sustenance. What our body's 65-70% water, so we've got to make sure it's there physically. But that also helps us to have that water energy around us. I mean, be mindful of that intuitive sense and how water is so intuitive. I mean, that very element, this exudes intuition. So thank you for that. Of course, you know that because you're Pisces. You had it. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so the last question then, of course, you have answered this already, but just to focus on it specifically and just kind of to recap for our audience. So the fifth question is, what can others do to be more intuitive? Now, we know you said you got to, you have to move to be still. You love being out in the sun. Also, being about and transmuting moon energy. Plant medicine, elemental medicines. So, what are some things that you could kind of summarize that people can do to help them to be more intuitive? And and then also another thing other shamans have said, the idea about trusting yourself. Could you kind of bring that together?
Oh goodness, yeah. That's been the recurring theme of teaching people intuitive development, basic psychic development, and energy work all these years. Is what do you hear over and over and over that I want to encourage every single person who's listening to this ever? Move through this, just sit with this, and then move through when that little voice comes up that says, am I making this up? Is this real? Because it's normal to go through that process of doubting when something comes up. And if you'll just keep going, stay with it, go into that and go to the other side of it, and you're going to be amazed at what's going to happen if you just stay with it and don't let doubt throw you off, because you're going to realize your imagination is the greatest tool from God to develop your intuition that you could ever have. So keep going when it's going to come up, that little voice that goes, is any of this real? I'm just making this up, right? You will get affirmed, confirmed, reaffirmed in so many ways that you cannot doubt it anymore, that you are being given messages, and this is real. This is real. Even if your imagination is involved, it's still real.
Yes. Oh, that's just wonderful. And that trust thing, that seems to be a big thing for people to trust themselves, because I know in coaching folks that's one of the big things we focus on, because they think imagination is made up, that it's not real. And I try to help people understand that, these are your blueprints for creating things, for manifesting things. Think of this as the plan, the blueprint, and now you just have to work physically to make it happen. So for the imagination, for you, imagination, perception, to you, all that it just works together with the intuition, gives it a nice rounded definition for you.
It does, and it's a way your brain can translate energy.
Yes.
So the way that you're going to describe something in the energetic field, it's not going to be, mine might be puffy cotton candy or swirls, or, and you could see it in a different way, because how your brain is going to translate that, it's still right.
Yes.
And I will say one more thing, whenever, about for them, if they look upon everything that you're ever doing is energy work, what you're eating, what you're drinking, if you think of that as like energy healing to your body, and this is your device. So I watch people, how they care for their cars and how they have no regard for their physical device that is like the most amazing, better than a hot rod, and they don't care about, but that's how you really get everything firing on all cylinders.
Oh, that is wonderful. And these are pearls, people. Make sure you're writing this down or watch this. Just keep hitting rewind and watch it and make your notes. As far as, let's say, exercise and foods, what would you suggest for people to do, other than you've already said, you got to do what you know to do? Are there some things that you do and you would recommend that people do as far as foods, exercise?
Yeah, the biggest hijacking, I feel like, of our intuition is in food, because not everybody, we don't, but lots of people are outsourcing their intuition to somebody else to tell them what to eat.
Yes.
If you are looking at it as an energy practice, it could be, I just need something blue. I need something blue for that frequency of sun codes. So it could be blueberries, it could be different things. And the amount can be an intuitive feel. The days that you wake up and you're like, I just don't need anything today. That's what my intuition says, instead of somebody else doing our programming. But I really do love for people to include back color therapy through food. And so that doesn't mean you eat like a mountain of blueberries,
right?
And make your belly hurt, because there's got to be putting that intuition back into eating. I'm so passionate about that.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Any particular exercises you think people would suggest people try to do?
Yeah, there's this guy on YouTube at EarthStar Tai Chi and Qigong. Like, and here's the thing that works really well for me. I have days I just don't want to exercise. Everybody does, right? If I will put on a video and somebody's doing stuff,
yes,
I just start doing it. And I think I won't even do it with the video on sometimes when I do it. But I did Tai Chi and Qigong with you forever before I started teaching.
Yes.
And I tell all my students, I'm like, go on there and do it with him. And now I can do it out at my lake. I do it by myself. I do it in the sunrise. I do it all the time by myself now, and it's my self-care. But there was a time that I needed that hand holding, and it's free. They can do Tai Chi with you anytime, Qigong anytime, right?
Yes, they can. Yes, just go to our channel and look up the Qigong. Got 3 different levels, and Evangeline is one of our certified Qigong instructors. So thank you for doing that. Also, being a Pisces doing Qigong, very flowy.
I love it. They can come to the Y with me every Wednesday. That class is as much for me as it is for anybody.
And as far as maybe incense, sages, different kind of aromatherapy or herbal scents, would you suggest people try some of those things?
Sure. If you like them, like a little lighting of a plant, if it's Palo Santo or if it's sweetgrass or sage, anything like that can shift you into a different space and frequency. And especially when you're creating that consistency in your meditation practice.
Yes.
That little light of a candle or light of a sacred plant, boom, let's go. Your body and your energy field starts to be like, oh, we know what's going to happen now. And you need those cues in the beginning, and then you get to the point you don't need any of it.
Yes. Okay. And so what do you think if people, let's say they hear this broadcast, and now something has clicked on, and they go, I want to be intuitive. So what do you think would be one of the first steps that you would suggest they do?
Step 1, clean out all the distractions. So all of the incoming messages that are vying to hijack your mind and your attention, clear that out. Go on a fast of all the information. I wasn't on the internet at all for 4.5 years. Not at all, because I was like, as an empath, social media is having a really big effect on me. And until I can have an effect on it, until I can master these platforms, until I am the force to come into these, I will not participate in this because it's having a detrimental effect on me.
Yes.
So I thought that might be 6 months, and it turned into be 4.5 years. I took a fast.
So wonderful. Yes. That's great advice. And also just for people who are midway along their intuitive life and those who are professional intuitives, and they just know it. That's your destiny. So thank you so much for being a destined intuitive to teach all of us the many, many ways of intuition. And I mean, as an intuitive, you really can't say that you're ever alone, right? I mean, you're always out there, right? But you're in here. You're in here to be out there. Like you said, you got to move to be still. So you're in here, but you're never alone. Right?
You're never alone. And as you strengthen your vessel, you have more mastery over your experience. Because I know a lot of you out there, I had years of psychic attack in the night, and it was not fun. So it's not always fun to be intuitive when you don't know what to do with it. And I went through those years. So when you strengthen the vessel, that's the other thing too. Like I had a client ask me, like, I want to connect with my spirit guides. I'm like, you have so many steps to come before that. So many spiritual hygiene steps of groundedness, centeredness, being healthy in here, before all the bells and whistles and like all the fun stuff, you know.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, that's spiritual hygiene, just like when we take our showers and baths every day, and maybe sometimes 2 or 3 a day. Yeah, definitely got to have that spiritual hygiene also. So, oh, thank you so much. Wait, let me find some dimensional applause for you somewhere with my button. So wonderful. Thank you for being here today with us. And folks, make sure you go back, watch this show over and over, share it if you will, make your notes. And truly, she's given us keys to the kingdom here. And that kingdom is within us with our own intuition, because everybody is intuitive because we're of God. So God is here. It's inside of every cell we have. Remember, we have 10 billion miles of DNA, and all those are little programs within us to let us know who we are, where we're from, and everything. So all the information is within. So remember, you got to move to be still. Okay, you heard it right here, right from the mind, right from the energy field of Miss Evangeline. So thank you so much for being here today, Evangeline. And again, look at all her information in the show notes, and I'll add some more later when I ask. After the show, I'll add some more. So check back with that, because she has many, many things in order to contact her, and make sure you sign up for her classes. So thank you for being a beautiful Pisces and intuitive goddess. And thank you for being the Queen of Sparta and down here on 3D to share all your lovely aloha. So thank you so very much. Okay. Love you.
I love you. Thank you.
Well, let's
I
give
love
you
all of you out there too.
Yes. Give you one more slide to get us out of here. And that's our Hawaiian POW. PAU means it's all over. Ready? Clap our hands on 3. 1, 2, 3. POW. Good. So thank you so much for being here with us, Evangeline. And thank you, audience, for joining us live and also on replay. So make sure you share, follow our channel, follow Evangeline on her channels, many, many channels that she has, and that way can stay informed. So thank you for being shaman. Thank you for being enlightened. Thank you for being intuitive. And remember, we want to see, hear, and feel the love in every moment, so we can be the love or be the aloha in every moment. So thank you. Wonderful. Have a wonderful day. It's springtime and we love it. Okay. Aloha.